Hello, here's a quick example of the sequence controller actually being used to drive some LEDs for a little Halloween project. So you can probably tell there are 8 separate little Halloween pumpkins. And you can see there will be 3 different patterns. This one is just kind of randomly turning on and off, kind of a flash and fade. This pattern starts from the outside and moves towards the inside, does it a few times. And then this one is a pumpkin Larson scanner going back and forth. Okay, now we've switched back to the second one again. They don't run for very long because I'm actually debugging the patterns, so I don't want them to switch very quickly. So if we come over here and zoom in a little, can see the little part there, kind of hard to see where the blue light is flashing. That's the ESP. Turn on the light. So that's the ESP there, and then underneath it is the sequence controller board, kind of the red board. You can just kind of see it. And then far one, come over to this side. I don't want to move stuff because you might break some connections. That other board is a daughter board, the one with the blue wires, and it just has all the connections. So it essentially connects from the red MOSFET board and just out to a bunch of terminal strips. So that's kind of the current state of that. Code that is currently running over there. And if you look, you'll kind of see 3 sections. So the first section here, which I've highlighted, is the Larson scanner one. So the scanner part is actually really the inside part. So essentially for channel 0 to 6, it turns a channel on and then starts fading it off. So it's going to be on almost immediately and then off over half a second. And then animates 1/4 of that. So it's going to do that for all the channels. So they'll kind of from left to right or from 0 to 6, they'll do that. And then once it gets to that end, then it does the same thing, but now going the other way, 7 through 1. So to go back and forth, that whole thing happens a couple times. That was kind of the first animation. The second animation I call flash and fade. So it's going to do this 30 times, maybe 31 times. 31 times. It will choose a channel randomly, channel from 0 to 7. It will turn on that channel all the way, and then over a period of 50 cycles or half a second, it will fade back down. So kind of the same fade we had over here. And then it will animate for 24 cycles, or about a 1/4 second. So what that means is generally we have 2 of the flash and fades going on at any one time. And then finally there was another one that I just call on and off. So this inner loop, let's see what we're doing here. So for brightness from 1 to 0, -1. So it's going to do this loop once with brightness 1 and once with brightness 0. So that's what it's going to do there. So for the specific cycle, it will set the brightness for 0 and 7. Notice the first one is a D here. That's a D, so nothing happens. And then the next one is a DI. So both of these will be coupled together. I could have written that if I was smart. I would have written this as DI 0 brightness, comma 7 brightness. I should probably fix that. So it does 0 and 7, then it'll do 1 and 6, then it'll do 2 and 5. Sorry. Then it'll do 2 and 5, and then it'll do 3 and 4. So I'll do that for brightness 1, so turn them all on, and then turn them all off. So it kind of chases in on both. And then the cycle it's getting from this outer loop It will start at 50. So it'll run once through 50. Now subtract 20, so run once at 30, run once at 10. So that controls the different speed at which it runs. And that is the current state, and shows a good example of using the sequence controller for something useful.